Today we have Nicolle Kopping-Pavars, who was a former family lawyer in South Africa in Toronto. She transitioned to helping families who are going through whole emotional changes in their life during the separation. She's helping them before, during, and after to just going through the whole process of healing and self-discovery and dealing with their inner conflict. My name is Mitra with PurpleTreeGroup Real Estate, and we are here with Nicolle and Vlad today.
Yeah, my name is Vlad. I'm a realtor that's been working as part of the PurpleTreeGroup over the past 7 years. We made it a part of our mission to bring interesting guests to our clients every single month. And today we are talking to a very interesting person that's going to share with us her insights into how she would like to see the law profession change, especially when it comes to family law.
Thank you so much, Vlad, and hi Mitra, and hi Vlad, and thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to share this time with you this morning. As we said, my name is Nicolle Kopping-Pavars. I am a former family law lawyer. I am now call myself a decision coach. I am a certified mindfulness instructor, and meditation coach. And I also am on a journey of advocating for mental wellness within the legal profession.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicolle. So I understand that there are so much going on when people are going through their separation. And today we are going to talk about a few questions that are the most important one. And one of the things that we notice the most is people who are going through separation, they don't even know their options. What are the options that you can actually tell us more about, which could be somehow an assistance for couples or families, generally speaking, going through the separation?
Thank you, Mitra. That is such an important question because for me, it's all about educating the public. And very often when people think that they want to get divorced or they want to get separated, the first thing they think of is, I have to go to court, or we're going to go to court, and I have to get a lawyer and lawyer up and go to court. But court actually is a very last option. Most, only the statistics of what files actually go to litigation are very, very minimal. So court is always the last option, but we always think it's the first option. So for me, educating the public on other options that are out there is really, really important. So it also depends on the type of marriage you had, how long your marriage was, were there children, what is your financial picture, are there complicated financial issues, are there investments, are there all of these things. We have to look at all of these things to decide what option is best for you. So if you've just been married for under 3 years, you've got no children, it just isn't working out, you maybe haven't got a lot of money, or you've got your pension, you've got the house and it's very small, you don't have to go to court. You actually don't even need a lawyer to assist you in negotiating the agreement. The two of you could sit down over a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, talk about it between the two of you, come up with an agreement, and just go to lawyer just to check that your rights have been looked after. Very quick, simple, and easy. Some people just don't want to fight, and they're relatively amicable. Although when you go to mediation, you don't necessarily have to be amicable. But some people just don't want to go to court, and they think mediation is the best way for them. Mediation is a fantastic option, but it's not right for everyone. So if you have got a controlling partner, you don't know much about finances, which is fine. There's always one stronger financial person in a relationship, and that's how for a long time your relationship works. But if you've got somebody who's maybe a bit more controlling or a bit more powerful, you used to keep them quiet, then unless you've got a really strong mediator, mediation might not be right for you. And you have to trust your mediator and hope there's no bias or anything with respect to that. Going to a professional mediator as opposed to a family friend or someone, one of them knows because they've worked with this person in business, that's not an option. But mediation is a great option. We have arbitration, which is similar to court, except that you don't go to court. And it's almost having a private, you create a private courtroom. So you hire a mediator, you talk about all the issues and the problems that you have. And then the mediator, if you can't actually come to decisions between the two of you, the mediator will then make a decision based on the one area that you weren't able to decide on. We've got mediation arbitration, which is a process where it's mediation, but you all agree that if we can't come to an agreement on all of the issues, and there is one issue, a mediator takes off their mediation hat, puts on the arbitration hat, and then they will actually make a decision over that. We have collaborative law, which for me is when I did practice, that was my entire practice. Was I was a mediator and then I was a collaborative lawyer. And this is a process where it's a full team approach. And what I mean by full team approach is we bring in experts to help the family through their transition. So we bring in financial experts, we bring in family professionals who can deal with the emotional aspect of everything, and they're all neutral, which means they don't take sides. They're working as a team to get the family through the transition. And with collaborative law, everyone actually signs onto an agreement, which is called a participation agreement. And what that participation agreement says, it says we will not go to court. So if we have to go to court, you have to fire your lawyer, and your lawyer cannot represent you in court. So it's really an agreement that keeps everybody grounded, because lawyers don't want to get fired because they can't do anything beyond that. And everything that you resolved or you spoke about in the process remains in the process. You can't say, well, you said this during the collaborative meetings, we're going to take that as a starting point in court. No, you're at ground zero. So the parties are committed to not wasting their money, and the lawyers are committed to not getting fired, because court is just not an option in the collaborative model. So those are options that a lot of people aren't even aware of, that court being the very last option.
Kind of one of the obvious things, just to your point, that often happens in whatever disputes people are having, is that one party wants to really hurt the other. And it's not often that, either party is truly seeking justice, so to speak. They are so involved in the process. They are always constantly in the past memories of how that other person hurt me, that oftentimes the intention is to try and hurt that other person as much as they can. At the same time, what I'm thinking is that if there's a communication channel that's open between the two parties, instead of them trying to hurt each other through a proxy who happens to be either the courtroom or a lawyer, then the process would go so much smoother. And it also comes from personal experience. I'm sure everybody were in the circumstances where, okay, so there's a dispute of some sort. Let's get a party in the middle that's going to try us to get an upper hand in the conversation. So I'm thinking rather, if the communication channel is always open, then the process not only is going to be so much easier, it's going to be faster from start to the final resolution, and possibly there's going to be a lot less money wasted, a lot less nerves wasted, and the resolution is going to be more amicable. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that, if this is something that you encourage in your practice as well. So let's try to communicate first. Let's get to the bottom of the problem. Let's try to connect you directly, instead of me acting as a proxy with a hammer in my hand, trying to kill the other person.
Vlad, thank you for that very beautiful understanding and for posing that as a question. Hurt people hurt, bottom line. So if I'm hurting, I'm going to hurt you back. And it's not because I hate you, it's because I'm hurting inside. And so very often if I'm hurting, I don't care about what your story is. I don't care what your pain is. I only know my pain. And so when you come and you start prodding me, I don't think, oh, there's Vlad, he's also in pain, he's scared he might not see the kids, or, he's scared that he's not going to be able to provide for us. We don't think about the other person's story. We only think about how what you've just said impacts me, and it's my story. And most often, we are not on anybody's radar when we're going through a separation other than the pain that we are in. And when you poke my pain, I'm going to attack you. And so that is something really, really important to understand. But it's very hard to have open communication when I don't trust you anymore, and when I'm waiting for you to prod at my pain. So it's really important, and this is why I talk about the emotional separation. It's really important that we understand the emotional separation, and we get somebody that we can trust to unpack the stories so that we can have open conversations. And one of the things that's so important is how people understand how you are feeling or what you are feeling as a result of what you've said. So if you are going through, you're in a meeting, and let's just say your spouse says, you always came home late, and the kids never knew you, and you were a very non-existent father. Okay. Instead of saying, why do you always make me feel bad? You think I wanted to be a non-existent father? I was busy out working so that you could look after the kids. Of course I wanted to be home and I wanted to bath it. And now you're going the finger pointing. But if you came in and you were trained during negotiation, during this process to say, I'm really sad to hear that. It makes me really sad that you thought I was a non-existent father. When you say it that way, you're not pointing fingers at anybody. You're saying, that really makes me feel sad that I was a non-existent father, or you actually saw me as a non-existent father. When you say it like that, the person can't get defensive because you haven't poked them. You've said, this is how I'm feeling by what you've said. And when you are not on the defensive, you can then have communication. So we all want open communication, but you have to feel safe to have that communication. So when you go to court, you don't feel safe. It's probably the most insecure, out of control process that you can be in, and you're at the mercy of someone sitting high on a podium telling you how to be in your life when all they know you is from a piece of paper. And it depends on how creative and wonderful your lawyer is drafting in those documents. So it's really, really important that we can have this open communication, and somebody can teach us how to communicate when we are going through a separation.
That's interesting. Yeah, that makes all sense. That how much we are hurt, and that hurt does not even allow us to see what are our options. I mean, that hurt creates so much fear as well. Who we are going to talk to, what approach are we going to take? All the options that you actually were talking about, there are options that people are afraid of even seeing, looking at it, and knowing who is going to be the person who is going to guide you through the whole process of, number one, coming with the best possible option. Some people are more conflicting, some people less, and some people want to finish it fast. Some people, they want to delay it for other what reason. And knowing what options are going to serve you and the family at the end is very important. So what I also heard during the whole process of separation, which is a legal separation, there's so much emotional charges. And can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So, one thing that people don't tell us when we're separating is we're actually separating twice. We're separating emotionally, and then we have the legal separation. So most people think, well, let's just deal with the legal separation, and I'll go to a therapist or a counselor, or I'll do it myself, and I'll deal with my own pain. But it's the emotional separation that you actually have to deal with first before you get to the legal separation or during the legal separation. So, very often how I describe the emotional separation is very often one person, I call them the kicker. Okay, they're the one that says, I'm done. I'm out. I'm kicking you out of my life, out of my marriage. I'm done. They, in their mind, emotionally, they separated long before the other person separated. So the other spouse, let's call the kiki, they're the one who, even if they knew their marriage was bad, even if they knew that they should separate, it comes as a complete shock when their partner says, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And it feels like they're being kicked in the stomach. It feels like their whole world is coming down around them. And then you've got lawyers and a partner going, decide what you want to do. Come. Your world is in a disaster. Okay. And the person who was ending the marriage, they dealt with the emotional separation long before you did, because it probably took them maybe 3 years, 6 months, 5 years to say, I'm out of here. So they've had that time. So when they're coming into the separation arena, they just want to deal with the legal separation. They've dealt with everything. But if you've just been kicked in the stomach and your whole life is a shambles, you're not where they are emotionally. And so what we have to do is they're over here, let's just deal with the legal separation. You're over here way down at the bottom. We have to get you onto almost the same emotional playing field so that you can both separate with logic, with objectivity, with perspective. Because when you way down here, I had it the other way before, when you way down here, you are only using your emotions to guide you. And what are your emotions? Anger, resentment, fear, shame, guilt, all of these things. How can you ever make a good decision if that's the energy that is working inside of you? So what I want to do is, yes, you still, whether you decided, whether you were the kikor and you kicked somebody out of your marriage, you're still going to have those same emotions, but you're probably going to dip in and out of them much quicker. Whereas the other person dwells in them, and it's very hard for them to move out of that swampy, hard, lethargic way of being that they go to sleep with and they wake up with. So this emotional separation, we really have to work with it at the same time as the legal separation.
Thank you, Nicolle.
Purple Tree Group, connecting people, building communities, helping clients to build multi-generational wealth through real estate.